Hello, I'm Paul.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome to the Filmbusters podcast. The film show with no filters, no prisoners taken, loads of disagreements, but one hell of a love for cinema.
If you want to hear three friends ridiculing each other for an hour or so regarding their taste in films, then you have come to the right place.
In each episode, one of the team picks a film for us to discuss. It could be anything from a recent cinema release to an all-time classic.
So, strap in and get ready to get mad or get vindicated as we guide you through the murky world of being a film geek.
If you like what you hear, you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram using @FilmbustersPod. You can also find each of our individual accounts. I'm at Filmbusters Paul.
I'm at Filmbusters Adam.
And I'm at Filmbusters Ben.
If you want to use your eyes instead of your ears, you can also visit the website at filmbusterspod.co.uk.
And if busting makes you feel good, you can also support us at patreon.com/filmbusters for exclusive content.
Alright, can we just get on with this now, please?
Filmbusters.
Welcome to 2025, everyone. We are back, and we hope you all had an amazing Christmas and an amazing New Year. You all good, boys?
It's all good, yes.
We're in the new year, and this one's going to be a good one. I started off with a cold, so it can only go downhill from here.
Or uphill.
Well, downhill should mean it gets easier, but it also means things get shitter.
Yeah, it depends what you mean. Like, could you go, is it an uphill as in like on a
It's an
happiness chart?
uphill battle. See, uphill battle is a negative, and things going downhill is a negative. So there's no, we just want everything to be level. Let's everything be level.
Right, so it's a very exciting time of the year, for me and Ben anyway, because we love a bit of stats and lists, don't we, Ben? So
we do.
This is a double bill we've got for you. This is our first episode, which is our top 10 first-time watches of 2024. So those films that we've never seen that have formulated into a top 10 list that we watched last year. All very exciting. And then next episode, you get a wonderful top 10 of 2024. All those films that were released in 2024. That's what you got. That's what we got to look forward to, guys.
That's it. These are the oldies. These are the oldies first.
Exactly. Or maybe just the year before. Who knows? The ones we missed out on.
Mine are pretty much all from the year before.
Are they? Oh, really?
Interesting.
I don't think I've got any from the year before. Oh, I do. I got one.
I've got 8 from 23, and then 2 of them are old.
I've got 2 from the year before, I believe.
Well, should we just cut to the chase and get on with it? Should we just do this in, do all our 10s, all our 9s, all our 8s, and so on?
Yeah.
Yes.
But what we do like to do, if we have a film that is on another person's list that is higher up, we don't speak about it until it comes up on their list. Are we doing that still, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful stuff. So shall I just go first? We're doing Filmbusters order?
Yes.
Wonderful stuff. So,
welcome to the party, listeners.
Welcome to the bloody pie. My first is an 8 out of 10, and it's a wonderful, wonderful Christmas film, everyone. It's my first time watch. Ben was very surprised. I hadn't seen it before now.
I know.
And it's A Christmas Carol.
George C. Scott.
George C. Scott's Christmas Carol from 1984. And, you know, we're big lovers of George C. Scott on this podcast. His wonderful voice, just his like such a powerful appearance on screen. Just love it. Just lap it all up. And he's just as good in this. And the level of acting in this film is incredible. He is so good as Scrooge. The best Scrooge that has ever been on screen, correct?
Yes.
So much better than Muppets Christmas Carol, correct?
Yep. Yes.
Do you agree, Adam?
I don't know if I can remember that version as much, to be honest. I remember that version, and I remember the Jim Carrey version of A Christmas Carol.
No, not Jim Carrey. Don't remember
Haven't
that
even
one.
seen that one.
That's the one with, what's his name did it? Zemeckis, I think. Was it Robert Zemeckis did it? I remember that film because we went to see it as a family on like the day before Christmas Eve, and when we were in the cinema, it snowed, and it took us like 6 hours to get home.
2010, that was.
Yeah.
That sounded like such a magical thing, but then it sounded like absolute hell.
Yeah,
Yes.
It was like a 15-minute drive away. It took us like 6 hours because everyone was getting stuck on hills and like the motorway and everything. That's all we remember.
Horrendous.
And it wasn't even like a chance of snow before we went in.
Look at that. It was the magic of Jim Carrey's shit CGI adaptation that did it.
You know what? I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about the history of Christmas and how much A Christmas Carol actually changed how we celebrate Christmas.
Really?
In what way?
Because like the whole giving, like apparently it used to be what do you call it, give as a family, and now it's like the whole community thing that came with it. Also, apparently it's the first mention of Christmas cards in the actual original story, and also apparently how the whole Santa delivering presents never was a thing because like chimneys only really started becoming like your Victorian house with all the chimneys and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, well as you know, you've seen Kraus, haven't you? So you know, or Klaus, not Klaus. Kraus. That's the very German version. Yeah, Klaus. It shows how the evolution. But I'm very glad that you watched George C. Scott's one, Paul.
Yes,
it is very magical. It feels very tonally. We watched it on Christmas Eve. Also, it there's nothing like it to get me in the Christmas
very
mood.
warming.
And he is brilliant. That was the first film I ever saw him in, and I was convinced he was British. He's
very good.
How good is the accent? Because it's not like London.
I was like,
it
really?
feels like Midlands.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And Edward Woodward, Mr. Wicker Man himself.
Yeah, man. Come in and know me better, man.
Yeah. It's all lovely.
It is. It is great. I'm very glad that you watched it. And anyone who has yet to watch it, and you'll be filled with the Christmas spirit. I'll tell you what. Last Christmas, I totally set Adam up to do a song there, and he didn't. So he's completely off the ball. Last Christmas, I read Christmas Carol, and Scrooge. The thing it's good. I like it. It's a short story, but Scrooge changes immediately as soon as the Ghost of Christmas Past comes along. He's like apologizing and shit, and he's like, "I'll do better." And it's like, that's not very interesting. You want him to resist it, which is what he does in the other adaptations, but in the original book, immediately, Anyway.
Interesting.
That was a very seasonal reference a few weeks ago, Paul, but now here we are, early January. People are like, what are you talking about Christmas for now?
There we go. Well, at least we get it done over first. There we go. My first, number 10. There you go. Who's next? Good. Adam.
So my number 10 is one that Ben recommended to me. It's a comedy. He said, I can't believe you've never seen it before. Do you know what it is, Ben?
Spaceballs.
Well done. Yeah. So that's on my list at number 10. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Yeah, I can't really remember when we spoke about it in an end of month wrap up, but yeah, it's a Star Wars. It's a very much a Star Wars parody. And do you know what? I can remember the bit about it when he's watching the film and they rewind it, and also the giant cone because you brought that up to me before.
Yeah, that's a very funny moment.
But yeah, it's a good watch. I take it you haven't got it on your list, Ben.
No, I haven't. Very good though.
Because you gave it a higher score than me. I've just realised that I've just gone on for waffling about it.
Yeah, I know, but it's on your top 10 list though, mate. So it means more to you this year than it meant to me. So,
well, there's not a lot. There's doesn't take a lot to get. I've watched 105 films last year.
Yeah,
and I'd say about 20 of them were probably for the podcast, and then a couple of them were docs. So it doesn't take a lot from the last 60 left really to get on there.
Well, this is damning with faint praise, man. You're meant to be singing these songs from the top of your lungs. Well, it is very funny. Paul, you saw it, didn't you?
No, I've never seen it. Still ain't seen it.
I thought you had watched it this year. Yeah, very good. I watched it stoned, so it was particularly fantastic.
Oh, yeah, that helps.
Worked very well. Yeah. Very good. Shall I go?
Go on, then. So
my number 10 is Looking, the movie, and this is the movie that completes the story of Looking, the TV show. Looking, the TV show was this show that came out 5-6 years ago about gay guys in San Francisco. Very, very mature version of Sex and the City for gay men, but it kind of does it a disservice to call it that. But I spoke about it before. The director of it and of the TV series directed All of Us Strangers, the film from this year with...
yes, I remember you saying, yeah.
Sexy Priest and Paul Mescal. So that kind of way of storytelling is what Looking is. Very, very good show, excellent show. It was cancelled and then they were given the chance to make an actual movie to finish it up, and it's one of the few moments where the finale is like so fitting of all of it. It was very beautiful, great closure. I highly recommend the TV show, and Yeah, it was very good, very mature and funny and heartwarming TV show.
Is it? Do you reckon it's something you could watch without seeing the TV show?
You could. It would be like watching El Camino without having seen Breaking Bad.
Okay, right.
So
you don't
like,
have
I mean,
all the
you wouldn't.
All the, levels.
You probably
need.
wouldn't want to. You could watch it, but if you watch it and you liked it, you couldn't go back and watch the TV show because it would spoil all of the stakes that are being set up, because it kind of does this is our finale. All of the stuff that you've been watching, here are the endings for all of these characters. But it's only 85 minutes. I actually don't know how you would watch it. You can rent it on Amazon. I bought it in the all bundle Blu-ray pack.
Oh, nice.
Originally. It's Jonathan Groff. He's the lead in it. Very good.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I remember you saying it was it. Yeah.
8 out of 10. That's how I found out he was gay. Didn't realise it until I saw him in it. I was like, God, this guy is playing a gay guy extremely convincingly. He feels very natural. And it's like, oh, right, he is gay.
It is natural.
It is natural. Second nature for him.
Lovely.
There we go.
You got my
There's
number
all
9.
the tens. Yes.
Okay, my number 9. You're all going to have something to say about this. It's Killers of the Flower Moon. I didn't watch it till this year.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
And it's the 8 out of 10 for me. I don't give it the high score like you do. But yeah, it's just like, it is another form of gangster movie that he's amazing at, just in almost like a different kind of genre. And it is a great story, and the acting in it is superb. And I know a lot of people say, well, it's, the story's not focused on the right people. It's focused on this horrible group of people, right? So Leo and Robert De Niro, but you have the layers to these people. Not saying that you get you feel like good about them when you come out of it, but it's such a level of acting that it's just like, oh man, these are real people.
Yeah.
You can feel the layers and the levels of these people, which is wonderful. And the stuff they've done, absolutely horrendous, but it is way, way too long. It's so long.
I mean, there is a certain indulgence with Scorsese now, where he's like, I've earned this right to make these super long films. And I guess it is kind of, but what would you cut out of it?
I don't know, make it 2 films or something.
Oh yeah, but fuck that. Forget that.
I do think there is now an element. If you make a film and it's over, I said this before, if it's over 2 hours long, you have to then give it to an independent board of editors, and they watch that film and they go, okay, you warrant being that length of film. Because there's so many, I think I said it after Substance, like there's so many films that are just 20 minutes, half an hour too long. And then by the time the fucking ending comes, you just had enough of them. I don't think it is like you're losing attention span. It is just, I don't know, that people just putting shit in there for the sake of it sometimes now. Like I think directors are maybe getting too overindulged, or they're too scared to cut stuff.
There are certain directors it can be allowed. Like if it was someone that you'd never heard of, you might go, you're pushing it. But
Scorsese's allowed, man. He's allowed to do it.
Yeah. I mean, like The Irishman, I wouldn't have said it's too long, but...
Nah, it needed every bit of story to let that all play out. But the thing is, it's just a whole feeling with this film. Like De Niro, he is great because he plays a character that he's never played before, and you feel like this soft monster, right? He's just like really soft spoken, but he's an incredibly horrible person. But what I was actually going to say was, it's a feeling with me. This film, I watched it and I thought, yeah, this is great, right?
Yeah.
But then it's kind of left me. It's never stuck with me.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Never did. There's something about it that's never stuck. The story was horrendous, and it was a good story to tell. It needed to be told, but it didn't stick with me.
I think the telling of the story was the most important thing.
Yes,
it was just
absolutely.
Let the story
be told, thing.
Which then bundles in with the discussions that I had about who should be telling this story. Should it be are they called the Osage Nation, I believe?
Yeah.
Should it be them who are telling the story? And it's like, well, but if the mechanisms are not in place to allow them to tell the story on that level, and great if someone can do it from within the community and someone's going to give them money, great, but the system is not in place for it, so that's fucked. So let's get someone on the inside doing it. Let's get someone at the top of his game who, let's face it, didn't need to tell this fucking story at all. He could have kept just banging out mafia films year after year and people would be delighted. So to switch his focus and tell that story was kind of that. What I took from it was, yeah, this horrible fucking thing that you have an inkling of, but here is like a deeply personal story about that shit. And
shine a light on it, man. It's like it's not trying to remedy any situation. It's literally shining a light in it and showing this horrendous shit happened. You didn't know about it.
Yeah, and you're foolish if you think that they're playing the white folk as heroes. They literally say the line in the film, "Can you see the wolves in this picture?" Because the wolves aren't them.
Yeah.
When did you watch it?
June, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, June the 9th.
Yeah, I mean it's no Irishman. That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
but
no Irishman. No,
it's very special for a director at the end of coming to the end of his career to be putting out work like that back to back is pretty special.
Do you reckon it's also an element now I'm doing what I want to do? I don't have to appease anyone.
To an extent, but like, could you say? I mean, there are some, I guess. But what are the Scorsese movies that he's put out where it felt like, he didn't really want to make that? Like even something like Aviator, which I don't like. Like you know, he wanted to tell that story.
Yeah. No, but I mean, obviously he wants to tell the stories. I think he's probably more picking the stories he wants to tell now more than ever. But like something like Silence, for example, he doesn't care if that film does well.
True. I mean, I haven't seen that, but he has got all that Roman Catholic stuff in him, isn't he?
Yeah, but then he's like, I'm making this film for me because I want to make this film. I don't care who.
Yeah,
I've earned my stripes. Like,
certainly has. Yeah, certainly has.
Absolutely.
I mean, if he makes a 4-hour film tomorrow, I'll be there.
Of course, definitely.
Very good.
My number 9.
Yeah,
you're number 9.
This film, I don't know why I was going to try and introduce it. It's Society of the Snow.
Oh yes,
that's a foreign language one.
Still
I didn't
seen
hit
it
up.
Spanish, yes, I've seen it. It's on your watch.
Is that not a 24 release?
No, is it?
Oh,
I don't know. 23. It says 23.
Do you know what?
Letterboxd.
There's a couple you got, Adam, that are actually released this year, but I think because they say they were released in America last year, like at the end, they're actually this year, but they say like 2023 on it.
Society of Snow, 4th of January this year in the UK. So it's actually this year.
Oh. Same as
I've got the holdovers in there. Poor Things.
That's this year as well.
American Fiction.
Or last year. I don't know about that.
American.
Are we getting spoilers for all the films you're going to be bringing up?
Just basically bring it up. Just do it. It's whatever you want to do. If it's
the list are there now.
Yeah. Just start again.
Anyway, the Society of the Snow probably came out this year. We don't know.
We do know.
We do know, but we don't know. I've got my list. They're done. This is probably why my 24 list is quite so small.
What's so nice about Society of the Snow?
I don't think there's anything nice about it. It's quite a gruesomely, not gruesome, but like it's not an uplifting. I don't know. There's uplifting parts in it, but it's also quite a hard hitting film. I can take it you guys kind of know what happens in it.
I'm guessing cannibalism.
Imagine, yeah, that's what I imagine.
Yeah, you see people eating people.
Anyway, is it based on the Andes crash, or is it something else?
Yeah, it's based on that. So it was.
Right. What makes it new compared to other films? Like I feel like this has been done before.
Yes, that's my question.
I personally haven't seen the other ones.
Okay.
There's that one Alive. I think Alive is the main one about the Andes plane crash.
Is that the one with what's in it? Isn't there one like what's his name in it? Matt Damon or someone in it?
I don't know that one. I don't know what that one is.
No.
Maybe.
But like it's in a year when we had, well, actually the year before, Yellow Jackets, and it's literally the same thing.
Yeah.
Yellow Jackets is not about there, is it? So I thought that was like
they had a plane crash and they started eating each other.
Yeah. I thought Yellow Jackets was the Sky TV show.
It is.
Well, it is.
That's what I'm saying. It's the same thing. So I was wondering what's different. I mean, Yellow Jacket's quite entertaining because it's quite funny as well on top of it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say too much because I know Ben Got it on your list, even though you probably won't watch a foreign film now for about 3 months.
No, mate, I'll be watching them. Don't worry. If you sell it to me, mate, sell it to me. Why should I watch this one?
Do you know what? When did I watch this film? Because it's so long ago. When did I log it?
If filmmakers,
February the 15th.
If filmmakers were familiar with the Filmbusters podcast and they've waited with bated breath every year to find out if one of their films is going to make it to our list, and they find out, guess what? They say to the Society of Snow director, guess what? You're going to feature on it. And they go, oh, so exciting. Which Filmbuster is going to be talking about my movie and promoting it? It's going to be Adam. Oh.
I'll drop out.
They go and cry.
I think the problem with my list is I watch so many of them at the front end of the year, not the back end of the year.
Yeah, well, you need to train your brain, mate. You need to do more crossword puzzles.
You guys have a ridiculously good memory for like remembering lines in films.
I do not.
Well,
you do.
Check out. Let's move on to mine and check out how good my memory is for number 9 on my list. 8 out of 10.
Go for it.
Only film from our podcast that I've got on my list. Kids Return.
No.
The Kids Return. And my memory is so good, all I'm going to say is go ahead and listen to the episode we did to find out how I felt about it. But it's Takeshi Kitano and it's Japanese cinema and it was beautiful.
See, I haven't included any films from the podcast.
We do that.
Yes. Of course we do.
We just don't do it in the end of month wrap-ups. I know. Mentalist, this guy.
I thought you'll be just be like, oh, you've done an episode on that. You can go listen to that.
That's what I just said.
I know, but yeah. I'm here to give people new stuff, new
it's
insights
your honest
into these films.
top 10, Adam.
Yeah, this
Not
is
your
your
fake
definitive
one.
top 10. Yes.
Adam's all screwed up his whole list. This is what, if anyone new listens here, this is what you're going to learn about Adam.
Yeah.
It's never going to be correct what he's saying.
No.
But he stands by it and he won't change it.
No, exactly. Anyway, that's 8 out of 10.
Lovely stuff. You want my number 8?
Number 8.
Which is also an 8 out of 10?
Yes.
This is another one that is a great, incredible feat of filmmaking. But once again, it's too long. And it's Oppenheimer.
And wow.
Let me say the good stuff about this film. Incredible cast. The acting in it, yeah. Cillian Murphy, amazing. Great stuff. The inner turmoil of this man. That's I guess, the most interesting and why you come to the film. And it's also maybe what will turn you off about the film. It's like, why do I really care about this man?
Yes.
But the cast, incredible. So many, like round every corner, there's a famous face that might be part of the staple Nolan universe, as you might say, or it could be a new face, but everyone is just on top of their game. Is Brendan Fraser on top of his game in this film?
Brendan Fraser?
Maybe they take the mick out of him. He's in it at one point, remember?
When is he in it?
I'm pretty sure he is, or is that a different film?
No, that was Killers of the Flower Moon he popped up in.
Oh, that's
remember?
it. That's what, there you go. I confused that bit. I didn't know which one it was.
Up out of nowhere in that one.
He could have done. He could have been there. It was his year, Brendan Fraser.
Yes, it was.
But yeah, it's the cinematography, unmistakable, gorgeous, as you'd expect from Nolan. I know everyone says about, you got to see it in the cinema because of the spectacular visuals it has.
Sound as well, man. I think sound is the bigger one.
But I think sound is the bigger one. Yeah, that is the thing you'll have. And luckily, I have a nice little sound system in my house. So when I watched it, it was gorgeous. I absolutely agree. And I think the impending doom of this film is wonderful. You know where it's going, so you're constantly feeling that horrendous tension and, the morality of what they're doing. Is it the right thing? Is it the wrong thing? And the turmoil in these people is great. And then you get this 40 minutes too long of the court case because you're like, do I care about this man and whether he's going to get charged for doing whatever? I don't really care.
But the film is about him. It's not about the bomb. It's called Oppenheimer.
I know.
It's not called the Manhattan Project.
I know. And that's the bits I didn't really care about. It's like, yes, okay, that's too harsh. I did care about it. But it's the fact that
the way they
it's a very long film, and it's like I'm watching a court case, and it's like, just just tell me the story. I don't really need to know about the aftermath of it that much, even though it's kind of part of it. And it ends up being a great film, not an amazing film for me.
Yeah, I agree. It's a great film, but not an amazing one for sure. There are people we know. We got listeners. I know that Alex and Julio from the Contrarians, they love it. They absolutely love it. I think for Alex, he says it's his favourite Nolan. I can't quite see that. I can't see the yeah. Well, or several other. Like I would put Oppenheimer for me in Nolan's filmography. In terms of wanting to watch it again and how much enjoyment I got from it, I think it's probably lower tier, man. There's probably about 6 or 7 Nolans that I'd want to watch again before that. But that's how good the man is.
Above it are like all 10 out of 10s pretty much.
Close enough, yeah. It was a good performance. Like, if I'm being honest, the thing that I really remember and take from it is Cillian Murphy's haunted performance, because he's just gold and dynamite. And having now seen Holdovers, I can agree Murphy should have won the Oscar. But I can't remember a hell of a lot about all of that court stuff. I know everything is bookended by, well, not even bookended, intercut shots of the black and white interviews in that office, and that's the pacing of that. Yeah, it felt like that was kind of unnecessary. Nolan is a director who, as time's going on, is indulging himself in a way that I'm not entirely keen on. So I will be watching him with a close eye to make sure he don't go off the rails.
He started announcing his next one, hasn't he?
Yeah, Matt Damon and someone.
Yeah.
Matt Damon and Hugh Grant.
Okay. I don't know what it's about, but...
Just to tie these two together, I also agree. It's both of these films, Killers of the Flower Moon and Oppenheimer, probably because they're so long, I never have any intention to go back to them anytime soon. If ever, I mean, I can't say if ever, I probably will one day, but especially not in the next years to come.
Yes.
And that's me.
Next up, for me, number 8, it's an 8 out of 10. This is a film that definitely wasn't released in 2024. It's one of the only 2 films that wasn't released in 23. So I don't think I'll be crossing the line here. It's an Adam Sandler film, Punch Drunk Love. I haven't watched this film before, obviously, because that's why it's in my list. Everyone keeps going on about it. I remember really enjoying it at the time, but again, since then, I don't know if I'd still give it the 8 that I kind of... Maybe I should have reviewed this before. That's why it's the bottom of my 8s since then.
So you feel like it just maybe hooked it,
yeah,
but not a solid.
Yeah, it's probably more of a... Yeah. But at the time, I remember being quite captivated by Mr. Sandler's performance. He can bring it out the bag when he wants to. And also, what's his name is in it? Who's always good in everything. The one who died. What's his name? Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, he's good in that.
I mean, I don't think I've actually seen a Philip Seymour Hoffman film where he was actually he was bad.
No, he was very solid.
Good choices. I remember the Sandler performance being very good because it is it balances his wacky kind of performance well, where it's not too over the top and it's kind of endearing.
Yeah, he can't do it like Uncut Gems. He can almost... There's so much of that character to play into. Like, there is you can overact over the top of that. But in this one, you do have to keep it kind of dialed down and kind of a bit somber in places. Which, yeah.
Yeah,
it's a quirky one.
Very kind of relatable because he was sort of like a dork and a dweeb in a way. Like so many people in movies always play, like for him anyway, he's always exaggerating what he's doing, but there he plays it down. He's put upon by all his sisters to an extent. I remember at the house, all his sisters are like kind of overbearing, and the way he played a scene in the kitchen there where he's almost on the brink of tears was quite nice. Good film. Paul Thomas Anderson. But all the big directors are getting called out here. Nolan, we've had Nolan, we've had Scorsese, Paul Thomas Anderson, Takeshi Kitano. They're all there. They are all there. My number 8, foreign language, here we go. It is One Cut of the Dead, which is what I finally saw. And what I liked the most about it was the fact that I was 20 minutes into it and I was like, oh, man, people are the worst. Everyone has just hyped this fucking film up so much. It's like, this is just a zombie film. And then you see what it's actually about. Which, have you seen, Adam?
What film?
One Cut of the Dead.
Ages ago, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so
Indian
film,
hard
isn't it?
to speak about. Not Indian.
Yes, it's hard to speak about without spoiling.
Is it a Bollywood film?
No, it's Korean. Isn't
I
it?
think it was something else then.
I don't think it's Korean. I think it's...
Oh shit, maybe it's
Is
Japanese.
it Japanese? I think it's Japanese.
Oh yeah, it is Japanese.
I remember it being Bollywood in my... Okay.
Well, beg me all over the place. I thought it was Korean. Christ almighty. I got lots of Japanese, more Japanese than I thought. Well, yeah, the reveal. So it turns into something else. You think you're watching this zombie movie, and then something happens which turns it into a much more fulfilling experience, fun, heartwarming. Like, I didn't think One Cut of the Dead was going to be so fucking heartwarming by the end of it, and it absolutely is. It's a lovely, lovely film, and anyone who has an interest in just wanting to create and make film will absolutely love One Cut of the Dead, because the efforts that go into filmmaking and all the little tricks that are used and whatnot, it's just a joy. It was a real joyful experience.
Joy. So heartwarming. Love it.
Yeah, loved it. There you go. 8 out of 10 for that as well.
What a beauty. I don't think I've got anything to say about it because it's so hard not to spoil it.
No, there's nothing.
Yeah. I just say definitely go watch that film and be as blind as you can going into it.
Don't look into it.
Yeah, exactly. I've got to apologise to Adam because
Why?
I've actually got holdovers on my list.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, it's 24, baby.
Yeah. Why would they release this in January?
They released it in December in the US.
Are you sure it wasn't released like...
No, it's January. I just checked.
So weird. I mean, that's why nobody probably watched it here until this Christmas.
Yeah, weird. Yeah, very strange. It's where is it placed in your list, Adam?
It's number 6 for me.
Okay, we'll wait for you. It's back to you, Adam.
So next up for me, again, this probably was released this year. Was it? I don't know. But it's Poor Things. Can you tell me when it was released?
It was released January as well.
It's
the January films that...
See, again, I just assume that
that's
these
the
were all
borderline
kind
ones.
of done like over Christmas, and then you see them in January.
Oh, there you go. But what? Unless you've got it on your list, Paul, we
I
can
haven't
talk
got
about
it
now. No, go
Is
ahead.
it going to be on your? Is it going to be on your actual 24 film?
Nope. It's not going to make
You
it.
didn't like it that much, did you, Paul?
No, I liked it. I gave it a 7. It was just... It was very quirky. The cinematography is amazing. And, you expect it to be weird, but it's just like, whoa, it's about a baby brain woman who's just having sex with people. So I was like, how do I feel about this? I don't know.
Here's how you decode that something isn't good. Because if someone says the cinematography is amazing, it means they didn't really like the film.
Yeah, I liked it
That's
for that.
It was okay. Cinematography was amazing. If you focus on that, the film ain't good.
Yeah.
Unless the cinematography is literally amazing.
I don't know.
was
I think
good.
sometimes. Yeah.
It's an interesting film. I don't know why I'm talking about this, Adam. You should be talking about it. It's an interesting film, and it's very quirky. Like, Willem Dafoe's like burping bubbles and shit. And it's like, yeah, this is weird and wacky, and, Mark Ruffalo's putting on the best performance he's ever done. But it's just that level of baby brain woman.
Yeah, I know.
That's uncomfortable.
It is uncomfortable, and it is actually. Yeah, I mean, that's what you. The thing is, that's kind of what you take away from the film as well. That's the bit that stands out kind of the most as well. Like when someone asks you what the plot of the film is, it's not like a mad scientist, is it? It's just her going around meeting all these men and the interactions and the adventures they kind of lead before she eventually has to. Well, I don't know. I think. How am I just trying to say this?
Well, I need to watch it because I haven't been able to watch so many of these English language films from 2024.
Are you not seeing it yet?
No.
Okay.
So this is how I will come in and update you in the end of month January wrap up.
Oh, you're going to hate
as it will
by
feature
then.
as my worst film of the month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see.
I feel. I feel like we planted too many seeds in your head now that you're not going to
Well,
like
I don't
it.
know, because that Yorgos, sometimes I like him and sometimes I don't, as we've established well on this podcast.
Did any of you have seen, was it Kinds of Kindness? The other one he did with Emma Stone last year.
No, haven't seen it.
It's so bizarre they did 2 films together in like 6 months apart.
Yeah, well, he's
This one,
working hard, man.
Filming
Yorgos is
them both at
working
the same
hard.
time to like, I don't know, mix it
Wait,
up.
Poor Things won the Oscar for Emma Stone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it only gets a 7
again,
for you,
she is
Adam.
good in the film, yeah. I think it is just at the heart. Yeah.
Well, you've seen both films. Who deserved it, her or Lily?
Well, from Holdovers. Was it Holdovers?
Gladstone, Lily Gladstone. Wasn't she in the
Killers
in the
of the
run?
Flower Moon. Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Who's it? Did the woman from Holdovers win as well, didn't she?
Well, she won supporting.
Oh, so this is for leading. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess she's a leading lady in that Holdovers, though.
I know, but they because it's not like front and center. I don't know how they do it. They fucking submit them to all sorts of weird categories.
I know, like, what'd you call it? The Bear won like best comedy at the fucking whatever it is.
that's all
It's
stupidness,
that's not
isn't
a
it?
comedy, man. Anyway,
So Emma Stone deserved it over Lily Gladstone or no?
For me, she did. Yes.
Right.
I mean, again, it's one of those. It's like an understated
Very
performance
different.
versus an overacted performance.
Yes.
You
What
can't.
did you give it, Paul? Poor Things.
A 7.
So you give the film a 7, lower than Killers of the Flower Moon, but you actually enjoyed Emma Stone's performance better than Lily Gladstone's.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't think Paul probably disliked it for other reasons than the film itself. If that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I give it a watch.
yeah. I mean, if you're looking from the outside, yes, it is a snapshot of someone reclaiming their femininity and like their power over men. But it's
done in a
like just
weird
you
way.
having sex with loads of men and learning to like harness your sexuality as a baby brain. It's just a
But
bit
when you
odd.
say baby brain, do you mean like Frankenstein?
She
Like,
is,
a brain that is not even
she
human to a
is
certain extent.
she's a woman who at first opening scenes is a pregnant woman who jumps off a bridge and commits suicide. And Willem Dafoe takes the unborn baby out of her stomach, puts
Right.
that baby's brain into Emma Stone's head, who's the woman who jumped off the bridge.
Oh wow, that's an interesting concept. So they put the unborn baby's
She's her
brain
own
into the
mother.
brain of the
Yeah.
mother. Wow.
Yeah.
That's all they needed to say. No one's ever fucking said that when talking about this film. I'm all the
That's
way
not
in.
you
Kind of a
had to
little bit of a
say.
spoiler in some ways. Like,
Well,
Now you're
I'll
hooked.
find out. I'm going to watch it nonetheless. All right, that's good. Enough Yorgos. We've talked enough about Yorgos. Let's talk about someone who doesn't get spoken about enough on this podcast. This is number 7. The film is Outrage, directed by Takeshi Kitano. So this
Here we
is
go.
a film that I ain't spoken to you boys about, but my goodness, I think that this one might be the one that the two of you, because you two don't really gel too much with Takeshi Kitano. You're not a huge fan of his style.
Kids Return.
Kids Return, yes. So Outrage was made in 2010, and it was made after a period of about 10 years. So Kitano had tried branching out. He'd done some stuff in the US, which wasn't very good. He'd done a couple of films, which even I didn't particularly like too well, where he was trying to branch away from the mainstream and the Yakuza persona. And this was his film that was like, okay, I'm going back to Yakuza and I'm going to try and make a commercial hit. So all of the slow pacing is gone. All of the stoicism is gone. It is in your face Yakuza filmmaking, and it is gangs double-crossing one another, members within the gangs double-crossing, and you are so hooked because just like in all the other Kitano films we've done, it's so very easy to follow the individual characters and where they're at. So you are spending time with a character that you think you like, and then you don't realize that this character is double crossing another character that you like. It's a very brilliant, very, very brilliant experience. What's great about it is it's first in a trilogy of films that he's done, the Outrage trilogy. And the other ones are very hard to get. I'm going to have to buy them because I have to see them. But Kitano himself, he's in it. He stars in it as well. He's one of like the sort of Yakuza underlings. And he is very, very brilliant in it because he often is just playing like stony-faced individuals. But here he's quite aggressive. And I think I might have mentioned to you boys when we met up for our Christmas dinner that there is a scene In fact, I may have even spoken about this film with you boys at that point, but there is a scene where he goes to one rival gang member who's in the dentist, and he takes the dentist drill, it is full frontal. The camera never cuts, and it has given me nightmares. It literally has put me off wanting to go to the dentist now. Also,
in case your arch enemy turns up and grinds your teeth out.
Listen, I was watching this in the film and I was like, I don't think the drill would actually do that. But I was like, well, why wouldn't it? It's a drill. Yes, and this guy is jamming it.
When you meet a dentist, why don't you ask him?
I don't even want to bring up the subject with a dentist in case they get, they
let me demonstrate. I'll see. I've never thought about doing that before, but I'll try it now on you.
Yes, well, exactly. They might do that, and I am due, Adam. I'm due a trip to the hygienist, so we mustn't joke about these things, just in case. But yeah, I would say if you boys get a chance to check that one out, if you are inclined to watch any more Kitano, that one you'd probably find a bit more pleasing than the sonatines of his filmography.
Nice, great stuff. I'll definitely check out.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, is it?
You got to pay for it, though. You got to pay for it.
Nice. Okay. Well, my number 6, everyone, and it is a comedy. And when comedy's just done right, it just soars, and you're just like having the best time.
Well, what's this one going to be?
This film I've spoke about before on a monthly roundup. It's called Joyride, and it's starring Asian women, directed by Asian women, and everything's Asian women, which is wonderful, as it should be. And it is about 4 friends or family in some senses going on a road trip back to, from memory, China, because they're not all Chinese. I think 3 of them are Korean and 1 of them is Chinese, and they're all going back to China for a business trip, but also to try and find one of these girls' mothers, because she's an orphan. And I told the boys a wonderful scene that happens right up front, where there is an Asian family with a little girl in a park, and they're approached by this white man and woman, and they say, "Oh, is it okay if our daughter plays with your daughter?" And obviously the Asian family is rolling their eyes, thinking, "What? So you can get some kind of cultural kind of background or exposure, yeah." And then they bring this little girl forward, and it's a little Chinese girl who they've adopted, and it was the cutest little scene, because you just don't see it coming. It's like, oh, that's...
very sweet.
Yeah, it's very sweet, but it is so funny. It is properly filthy, and there's an amazing moment in it, one of the funniest jokes that I've seen in a film in a while. And it's they're talking to this Chinese girl who, because she has these white parents, she goes for white men normally, and they're making fun of her, saying, "You never go for Asian men. You just don't go. Don't do it." So she says, "When I masturbate, I sometimes fantasize about Splinter from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He's Asian." So they go, "He's a rat," and she goes, "He's a good father." And I think it's the most funniest thing, man. It was so well done and like perfect.
I remember you saying that. That is funny.
Yeah, it's very funny, and I highly recommend it. So funny, a great bloody time.
Joyride.
Yes. All right. So next up for me, number 6, and this is the one that you mentioned last time, Paul. It's The Holdovers.
Well, what do we do here? Because I might have that on my 2024 watches.
Because you've done yours correctly.
Is it on your top 10?
Yes.
Okay, we'll wait for you then, because you've done yours correctly and me and Paul haven't.
Okay, we'll do it then.
Absolutely correct, yes. You have done it correctly.
Anyone want to take a guess what country we're going to for my number 6?
Is it Japan?
We're off to Japan again.
Yeah, baby.
And we're going all the way back to January. This is Godzilla -1.
Oh, shit.
One of the first films I watched on my little international journey. Adam had seen it right at the very beginning of the year, and then you mentioned it, and I checked it out. And I feel like we must have discussed it at the time on the podcast, but we subsequently revisited this, for sure, with Paul. We've had conversations with Paul about Godzilla -1.
Have you watched it yet, Paul?
Yes, I have, yes.
Oh, okay.
He's watched it. We've had the conversation about it.
Yeah, inferior to Godzilla X.
Yes. We had this back and forth on some platform at some point. I don't even know if it was ever done on the podcast, but Anyway,
I think we
not
must
to
have
rake.
done in the wrap up, didn't we?
We definitely have.
Yeah.
We spoke about it multiple times on the podcast.
Well, not to rake over the past, but just to say that Godzilla -1, little did I know when I watched that at the beginning of the year, thinking that this was the definitive Godzilla film of all time, and what a delight it was, and fantastic. The Japanese have done it perfectly. This is never going to be bested. Little did I know that just a few short months later, there would actually be a better Godzilla film than even Godzilla -1, which we'll talk about shortly, because that's my number one first time watch of 2024.
Oh, wow. Spoilers.
But Godzilla -1, the huge thing is the practical effects that were used, the CGI work that was used in conjunction with the practical effects to give it that stop motion aesthetic. Paul ain't a fan. It absolutely tickled me where I needed it to. It was so well done. The storyline, and I'm realist, I'm not saying this is a perfect movie. When I look back on it, the thing that I struggle the most with is some of the sentimentality around his return from war as something of a coward, because he was meant to be a kamikaze pilot and he was the one who got away. And I think they kind of prolonged that point a little bit too much in the film. But all of the stuff where he is out on the boat and working with the other two guys, and it's like Jaws, is fantastic. It is like Jaws and Dunkirk mashed up for me in this Godzilla film. And I think it's absolutely incredible, and I loved the experience, and I'm so glad that the design team won an Oscar as well. I hope that the Godzilla property stays with Japan for a long time to come, because they're just making incredible versions. It's their story to tell. It should be with them.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to watch the Godzilla minus colour one.
Yeah, so do I. I was needing to watch that. Sorry, I just put a jelly baby in my mouth because I didn't think I was going to have to talk.
Well, shout out to Godzilla XCOM. Do you want my number? What
Nonsense. Nonsense. You're not allowed to mention it.
You're my number 5.
Yes.
Godzilla versus Kong.
No. My number 5 is another comedy, and the reason this goes above the Joyride one is because
Paul's full of chuckles this year, man. He's full of chuckles.
So many chuckle brothers, and this one resonated with me a little bit more. I felt connected to it a little bit more because of the characters, and it's the Jennifer Lawrence film No Hard Feelings. So it is so funny for starters, really, really funny. But the stuff that resonates with me is the fact that it's her and this guy that she's basically pretending to date just to up his confidence a little bit, because he's such an awkward and shy kind of teenager. And I resonated with that level, because that's exactly everything he was, kind of how I felt as a teenager. But then I also resonated with the Jennifer Lawrence character, who's a 32-year-old woman. And obviously, I'm not a woman, but the way she navigates the situations, where everyone thinks she's old now, right? She goes to parties with this guy, and people's like, "Why are you bringing your mum?" And it's just like, oh man, this is how people like view me.
How old
now.
is he in
I'm
the
this
film?
person. He is, I believe, I can't remember how old he is now. Is it on here? 19-year-old. Yeah, he's a 19-year-old. Yeah, and she's 32. So he hit on both those levels. And yeah, just her going to parties and trying to kind of navigate the younger generation, and you're just look to be the old person now. And it's like, yeah, but it just almost dawns on you like, that is me now. I'm seen as the old person. When I was back then, I was like, oh, these people are so old. It's like, I'm that person now. And I think it navigates that really well as being a hilarious film on top of that.
Until
so
you
I
hang
very
around
much
with Ben,
recommend.
and then Ben's the old person.
No, he's my baby boy.
And then Ben hangs around with Scott, and Scott could be the old person.
You're the young person, mate. Don't worry. You'll always be the young one.
Yes.
The young buck, as Ben says.
Not lately. Not lately. You're too old now.
I am.
He is getting old.
You have to
I've seen them
basically-
caps. He goes everywhere with a flat baseball cap.
Yeah.
It's not one of them baseball caps that's got the curved shape on top. It's one of them baseball caps that sinks, so it just falls flat on the head. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Listen,
I don't
you
like
know
the
what
baseball.
I mean.
I like the soft baseball caps. I don't wear the ones that have got the front bit. That makes your head look massive. My head's big enough as it is.
I am not a fan of the flat cap on me. So
See, I need
I don't know
the
what
flat
to
ones.
say.
I don't like
Worse
the ones
than
that have
Adam.
got any structure to them. I like the ones
No.
that are just a bit of fabric with a peak.
And not only has he got a cap, he's also got a handicap, which is
Yes.
even worse.
Yes.
I don't think I actually officially have a
We're talking about
handicap.
golf, people. We're talking about golf.
Well, we're talking about his colourblindness, is what we mean.
Yeah. I lost the quiz 1 year because of it.
Yeah,
Very
just
good.
that one
That's
question.
true.
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
that's where it all went tits up.
Just that one. Oh shit! I'm not meant to be asking quiz questions today, am I? No, that comes with the actual first proper episode. Yeah.
No, yes, not this one, no.
Yeah,
Till the
good.
first film, yeah.
Good. Go on, Adam. You're number 5.
So up for number 5 for me is Blackberry. I don't know why I keep trying to big these films up, and I just don't know what to say, and I just say the title. The Blackberry film with
Still ain't
Ron-
seen it.
Glenn
No,
Howerton
neither
in
have
it. It's a very good film. Glenn Howerton is very, very good in it.
Is it very funny?
It's like, what do you call it? What's it? Oh my god, I can't think of anything today. Not
Black comedy?
dark comedy. It's like, it is funny in places because it's him and Jay. Is it? I can't remember the other guy's name now.
Jay Baruchel.
Yeah. So they're kind of like comedians by trade. Like, but it's like subtly funny. Like you're not almost laughing out loud at it in places and all of that. It kind of just regularly makes you chuckle. But it is just a well-told story of the film of Blackberry. It's quite interesting as well, considering like obviously we all lived through that period and all of that.
Did you ever have a BlackBerry?
I did. I had 2 of them.
I
Did you?
never had one. Never.
You didn't BBM?
No, never. Even right now, I couldn't tell you exactly what that
Fiddly,
is.
man.
Yeah, a little tiny fucking keyboard, mate. Tinier than the one on your phone.
Yes.
People
But
with
it also
small
kind of
fingers.
focuses on like the rise of the iPhone as well, and why the BlackBerry fell and iPhone rose. But yeah, I highly recommend watching it. And
Yeah.
Glenn Howerton was great in it.
Well, I can imagine that is the selling point, that he's good in it. And I reckon if he wasn't in Always Sunny and he was in it, like, just people wouldn't really care.
Yeah.
Because I think people, maybe I'm wrong, but I think people are probably saying that they like it so much because they're so used to seeing him in Always Sunny, so they're seeing him do something different, which is what's catching
and he's
attention.
bald in it.
And he shaved all
balding
that
head.
shit hair off. Yes.
We'll
I
talk
don't know
about
what to say
hair
to him.
as well. Is it highly distracting, Jay Baruchel with that white hair? Because it looks. This is one reason I haven't watched it, because I keep looking at him like that wig looks so shit.
I don't know if it's necessarily a wig. Is
Well,
it a
either
wig?
way, it's like doesn't look natural.
Who's Jay Baruchel?
The main guy in Blackberry, I guess.
He plays, they're like the 2 founders together.
No, but who is he? I mean, who is
You
that
recognise
actor?
his face.
He plays the voice, is it the voice of How to Train Your Dragon?
Yeah, it's him. Yeah.
As if I'm going to know who that is. I'm
You don't
looking at a
recognise the
picture of
guy's
the guy
face?
now. I'm looking at a picture of this guy now. I don't know who this is.
He's in a load of stoner comedies with Seth Rogen and stuff like that, so you wouldn't know.
All right.
Ben now hates the film immediately.
Now look at his hair in Blackberry on the cover and tell me, does it look silly?
Well, I'll tell you what, it looks like Wim Wenders. It looks like Wim Wenders. He looks like, not Wim Wenders, he looks like our man who did Mystery Train. Wim Wenders, yeah?
Yeah,
Wim
yeah.
Wenders. So he's Wim.
Uh,
Okay, yeah. Wim Wenders. That's what he looks
What's
like.
Win
I
Winder.
thought you were talking about what's his name? Jim Jarmusch.
That's exactly who I mean. Why the fuck am I saying Wim Wenders?
I don't know who Win Wenders is.
Well, to be fair, in my defence, Wim Wenders also has white hair, but it's not like that. I did mean Jim Jarmusch, yes.
There you go. We got there in the end.
Yeah. Number 5, so this is my first 9 out of 10. We're going Spanish this time. This is official competition. I spoke about it right in our very first monthly roundup.
Antonio.
This is, Penelope Cruz and a guy called Oscar Martinez. And the more I think about it, actually, in a funny way, it's kind of us 3, because the premise of the film, it's a black comedy as well. And the premise of the film is Penelope Cruz has written this script. She's a particularly wild and free-thinking director, and she has written this script, which has been financed by a guy who has been working in business his whole life, and right as he's getting to the end is like, I want to do something beautiful. I want to take all the money that I've got and I just want to invest it in someone who's brilliant at making art. So he gets her to write this script, and he gets the 2 biggest actors in Spain, into the movie. And what you watch is the rehearsal period of the three of them getting ready to make this movie. And the humour comes from the fact that Antonio Banderas is Adam. So Antonio Banderas comes to the project and he's like, I'm brilliant, but all I do is say the lines. If you got a script, I'm going to say the lines and I'm going to deliver it and then I'm going to go as quick as we can. And this other guy, Oscar Martinez, is me. You're Penelope Cruz, Paul. You're the director putting all this together. Okay. I'm Oscar Martinez because he wants to sit there and he's like, they sit there in rehearsals. He's like, no, you can't just say the line. You have to think, what was the meaning? Why did he say it that way? What happened that morning? Where was he coming from? What did he actually mean with the words? And the two are clashing like this all the way through because they've got these two very, very opposing styles, and Penelope Cruz is trying to keep it all together. And the beauty is that, as you would expect, they both are good and bad in equal measure. Just being pretentious about the art and being, no, you have to spend ages deciding, getting in the mind or whatnot is obviously not the key to just creating something brilliant. And some people can just turn up and deliver the performance on the page and knock it out the park. But it's a very funny film. And the only thing that stops it from being a 10 out of 10 is there's some stuff that happens at the end, which I won't talk about because it's too much of a spoiler, which feels so out of keeping with the rest of the film. It's like, why have you done that? That is not even this kind of film. And you've now done this, which has changed the tone of it for the final 10 minutes or so. And I just didn't enjoy that. But everything leading up to that was very, very brilliant. Good humour. It's not like full on laugh out loud funny. It's like black comedy, kind of like Adam's Blackberry, I suppose. But highly recommend checking that out. It's another one for people who love film, because the beauty of seeing what goes on, the magic behind getting something to screen, they just take one or two scenes and like examine that to the nth degree. Very fun.
Nice. I need to watch that one. That tickles my fancy.
Yes.
You're my number 4. We're getting close to the top 3. My number 4 is one we've done on the podcast. It's the happiness of the Katakuris.
Wow, that's high up.
Yeah, it's
that's
very high.
Fucking high, man.
I said at the time, I was like, I was so tempted. Like, maybe this is a 9. It just hasn't made it. But, you know, maybe I'll rewatch one day. But I just think it's so original. Something like, it feels like something like I'd never seen before. Just an incredibly fun watch.
Yes.
And incredibly delightful, very heartwarming in places. And everything we've got to say is on that episode. Go check it out. It's a hell of a lot of fun. Well done, Takashi Miike, for that film.
Well done, Takashi Miike. It was very good. Paul was very taken by it, clearly. My God.
I was, yeah.
We spoke about it just a few weeks ago.
Very
load of fun. Thank you.
Number 4, again, this probably could have come out this year. Who knows? I mentioned it earlier. It's American Fiction. Have you guys seen it yet?
No. I know about it.
Yes.
So let me try to remember about this film, because this was a long time.
Jeffrey E. Wright.
Yes. I only watched it in April. That's actually not that long ago.
You need to do crosswords.
He pretends to write a book.
Yeah. I guess it's probably like the assumptions that people make about authors and what you should be to get yourself sold if you want to be this and you want to be that. I think he pretends to be like, because he was black, he pretends to be from the streets, or like he writes about being in prison, I think it is, or something. I can't remember now.
Oh, so he's not pretending to be a white person. He's just pretending to have like more of a street life than he has.
Told him something to do that, but yeah, he puts on persona to try and sell his book, and how that whole thing comes about it. But do you know what I do? Do you know what? It's that whole thing with this film that I love more, and it's whatever the director said at the Oscars about why make one £200 million film when you can make 10, 20 million pound films. And all it takes is one of them to be.
Was
good.
that the director of this who said that?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's kind of, this film has that kind of heart to it as well. Like, it's very, what do you want to call it? It doesn't, like, it's not showy film. It doesn't need to be showy. It's just like, it's good story and it's well acted and it's well made. And that's what the film is. And it's just good storytelling.
I feel like it came out at the same time as Holdovers, and they sort of felt like, from on paper, they felt like they were the same kind of film, same kind of energy.
It's a little bit different, this film.
No. Well, I will watch
it. Got a funny bone?
Yeah, I guess it's funny in places. Again, I wouldn't say it's a comedy, but it's definitely drama. But it's obviously every film is funny in places.
Well, I'll give that one a go. I will. I like Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, same. Always plays the same character, though. Does he play it in this same kind of character in this film?
Well, he does and he doesn't, because he's obviously kind of playing the two sides to the character.
I tell you one character, I know what you mean. Yes, he often does play the same sort of character, but there's one character in particular, which is the first one I ever saw of his, and I don't even know his name in it, but he's the bad guy in Shaft.
Yes. Yeah. That's very true. That's the two different characters he does.
Some terrible scenes, like he's shitting on the toilet and squirting his diarrhea out and stuff and making faces and, you know.
I don't remember that bit. Is he stabbing himself in that bit? He's like stabbing himself and like shouting at Shaft.
Does toward the end with an ice pick. That's true, yeah. God, pretty brutal. I like that Shaft. Busta Rhymes is in it. Christian Bale was not good in that film. But everything else was fun. Number 4, another 9 out of 10, Past Lives. Here we go with Past Lives. This was a beautiful film. I absolutely loved it. It's Celine Song is the director. And I know I said that thing about cinematography, so I won't say that term. But what I will say is she has captured New York in that film in a way that I haven't seen since Woody Allen did it. It just feels so fucking authentic. And she's put these such believable characters at the heart of the story. We already spoken about the premise, which is young guy, young girl, separated. I can't remember where they're from. Maybe it's Japan or maybe it's Korea. Separated as kids. They kind of had an infatuation with one another and they move on with their lives. She moves to America. He stays there. Korea, did you say, Adam?
It was Korean, isn't it? Yeah.
Right. He stays in Korea and then he finds her on Facebook many, many years later, and there's a reconciliation that takes place in America, and they focus on that. And it kind of was giving like Before Sunset kind of vibes, but it's very different to that, because what it's playing with is this idea of he's come because he clearly still loves her from afar, but he loves her. She has this deep connection with him from the past, and she is married to a white American. And it's watching these three characters together, particularly as we get towards the end of the film, which is just so beautifully handled and so perfectly done. It was just very tender, very lovely, great understanding of the human condition, very beautiful, very emotional.
And it's the whole thing.
Huge highlight.
Is the whole thing of like every time the Korean theory of life of like every time you fall in love with somebody, you get closer and closer in each life that you have. Wasn't it?
Yes.
Something what they say?
Oh yeah, when you're saying that.
Yeah, they were basically like any interaction that you have, it would start off as like you brushing up against someone, and as the different lives happens, it gets more amplified.
Married, basically.
Yes. So in like a past life, maybe they were, or this might be the past life, and in the next life they'll be together. Very fascinating. Very good. Very, very fascinating and very good film.
It's on the watch list.
Yes.
Definitely watch it, Paul.
Definitely watch it, yeah.
Yeah. You want my number 3?
Number
it's top
3
now, baby.
Top 3 films. Big time.
It's another bloody podcast film. Do you remember one that I absolutely adored this year?
I feel like there was a few. Yeah, Passion.
Yeah, Passion, absolutely. No, it's Big Night. Stanley Tucci's
See, again, I had that on my original list and I took it off because it was a podcast film.
Oh, you silly boy. You silly boy. This is the beauty of the podcast, like just finding like beautiful films like this that you wouldn't even think about watching.
Yes.
And it is heartwarming, beautiful. The interaction between Shalhoub and Tucci, just incredible. The food they're making is just so
omelette.
Scrumptious. Yeah. And it's like you just want to be there, you just want to be enjoying their company, and it's just hilarious. And like Ian Holm there, he's probably the funniest character in it.
Ian Holm's in it, yeah.
So fucking funny, and I enjoyed it a hell of a lot, and so happy we brought this podcast. But I was fucking all over it on the episode. So if you want to hear me loving it up, there you go. We got the episode for you. 9 out of 10, the first one of of the whole top 10.
Yeah.
First 9.
Now, why didn't it get the 10? We haven't got time. We ain't got time to interrogate
just a
why these
feeling.
guys
About
haven't
that on
got
the
10.
podcast. Go listen to
Yeah.
that.
It's just a feeling, innit?
Just a feeling, exactly. There was no tears.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Very much enjoyed it.
My number 3 was Past Lives as well.
Oh, well, mate, we were meant to leave it to you then, because you had it higher
Well,
up.
I mean,
You
the
silly
conversation flow. There's no point.
True.
What do you call it? Breaking up a nice flow of conversation.
All right, fine.
Agreed.
My number 3, Indian film, The Lunchbox. I was talking about this when I was with Jenny's folks a couple of days ago as one of the highlights of the international cinema experience. I think I spoke about it at the time. It's a love story told very beautifully through the medium of a lunchbox system, which is used in Delhi, where these women, largely women of course, are preparing food for their husbands and partners who are at work, and this bicycle system then takes the food to their offices, and by circumstance a wife's lunch is delivered to the wrong man, and he keeps getting the lunch that she makes, and she realizes her husband clearly isn't eating the lunches and they're being delivered elsewhere, but he's not saying anything about the fact that it's not being delivered to him. So as this sort of like wedge gets driven between this woman and her husband at home, she and this stranger bond through never meeting one another, but through the connection of food and community, and they start sending notes to each other through the food. And it's very beautiful. It's obviously very representative of the power of food in somewhere in a country like India, where that is so ingrained with family and love and community and sharing and linking all together. It is, I think I said at the time, it's not food porn, it's food love, because that's what it is. There's lots of food, but it feels very much about love. Very beautiful film, possibly one of the most beautiful I've ever seen. Really lovely film. Yes.
Wow. Big
And
talk.
our man in it is from Life of Pi. Is our man from Life of Pi.
Isn't it? Oh, no, I'm thinking of a different guy. Yes, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Amrit Sang, I think he's called.
He's,
Anyway,
I'm pretty sure he...
Irfan Khan.
He's come across to Hollywood as well, hasn't he? In different films.
Yeah, Life of Pi was his main one, I think.
Yeah. I think he was in Jurassic World.
We don't talk about that. As I
Very nice.
look now, yes, he was indeed in Jurassic World. He was in The Amazing Spider-Man. Oh, he was in all sorts of disappointing things. He was the host. He was in the host of Slumdog Millionaire. He was the host of Slumdog Millionaire.
I was going to say that, but I was thinking it was a different guy.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Just an interesting side note fact here. The other day, I was looking on Letterboxd for top 100 films directed by women directors, and Slumdog Millionaire came up, and I was like, what the fuck's all this about? And I clicked on it. I never realised that it isn't just Danny Boyle's film. There are 2 directors on that film.
Really?
Yes. It is.
Wow.
It is Danny Boyle, and it is Loveleen Tandon, and she is down there as co-director. So she did pretty much all of the stuff in India. Yeah, that's pretty fucking racist, man.
That is weird.
Oh, Danny Boyle, Slumdog Millionaire. Yeah.
Is it even like credited as that?
I don't know. I
swear
don't know
most of
if
the
you
film
watched the
takes
film.
place in India as well. Like I can't remember saying it for years, but
Everything else is in the studio, right?
Yeah.
In the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire studio.
Yes. There you go. What do you
How
expect?
bloody
though?
weird. Yeah, what do you expect? Exactly. You want my
Okay.
number 2?
2.
Yeah.
Well, knowing me,
Knowing
and I love
you.
for superheroes. Yeah. So you would expect that I would have seen this film, and being a massive DC fan, you would have 100%
Superman.
expected I would have seen this film. It was the first time I ever watched Christopher Reeve Superman.
Oh shit! Yeah.
You know what? I never
And-
knew what happened to him until that. Obviously, that Sky documentary keeps getting played all the time.
Yeah, I really want to watch it. I really, really want to watch it. What can I say about this film? It is just absolutely beautiful. Christopher Reeve's incredible in it. Marlon Brando, he doesn't want to be there, but it's still wonderful that he's there.
Has Marlon Brando
And
ever wanted to be in a film?
who knows? Who bloody knows? But just the design of Fortress of Solitude, so fucking amazing. The design of Krypton, it looks incredible, and just this the dynamic of or the interplay between Clark Kent and Superman or Kal-El. It's indistinguishable. I can't work. It's like they're 2 different people. That's how well Christopher Reeve's playing it. It's amazing. It's so bloody good. And Margot Kidder, probably the best Lois Lane there's ever been. She's wonderful in it. The music, just the whole story. It is just an incredible piece of film. Not just as a DC fan, as film in general. I bloody loved it, and I'm so glad I've actually watched it now. I thought it was just going to be one of those ones that people love for nostalgia reasons, and it wasn't. It was incredible.
It's very good. I watched it 20 years ago. I've only watched it the one time, but I loved it at the time. Can't remember shitloads about it. I remember Gene Hackman gets his wig snatched at the end, and he's bald as a coot at the end.
Yeah, boy.
That's the last shot of the film, I'm pretty sure. They snatch his wig off.
Probably.
And then he's just ranting in the prison yard.
He's all a bit of a fool in that Lex Luthor. Foolish Lex Luthor.
So what is, and then Christopher Reeve had his accident, and then...
No, he did several more Superman films.
He did 4
They weren't very
Superman
successful,
films.
but the first one was. You can find out more about that, Adam, not by going to the documentary, but by going to listen to episode 2 of Frasier on Film, where I uncover.
Oh yeah, because I
Christopher
was going to bring this
backstory.
up in the chat the other day as well, because you do Christopher Reeve as well, don't you?
I do, yes. And I'll have you know, I recorded the Christopher Reeve episode before that fucking documentary even got its London Film Festival release. And I was like, oh shit, I've literally recorded this, and a week later there's this documentary.
Have you
Not
watched
like
the
people are
documentary to
gonna-
make sure your facts are the same?
They copied from me. They copied my notes.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I'll listen to your episode instead of watching the documentary.
Yeah, you get to watch John Carpenter's Village of the Damned, so, fill your boots.
Exactly. Don't get that in the documentary.
No.
That's my number 2.
Yes. Number 2 for me is Anatomy of a Fall.
Oh,
Very
still ain't seen it.
Good.
Have you seen it, Ben? Is it on yours?
No, it's not.
Really?
I've seen it. Hang on, what do you mean? Because, wait, when was that? Was that a 2024 film?
I don't know. I thought it was this Oscars, but again, I thought it was last year.
Because I've talked about it at end of month. I mean, if it's not on, it's not on my list. No. Oh shit! Yeah, fuck me. It's not in my best of 24. No, it's not.
Yeah,
It's
it was
not. I'll tell you this. It's not
10th
even
of
in my
November
fucking
last year.
honourable mentions, mate.
Wow.
Yes,
What
and
did
I
you
very
give
much
it?
enjoyed it. An 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it.
Oh, my honourable mention started at 6, so
It came out last year as well.
yeah, it just came out last
November.
November. I gave this a 9 out of 10.
Very good.
Oh no, I didn't. I gave it an 8. All my
Oh.
films are 8 actually. I thought this was a 9. I don't actually go into the 9s this year. That's sad.
Did you watch this very recently?
I watched.
Or did you
this
watch it before me? I can't remember.
Kind
I
of.
feel like we
I think it was
spoke
in the
about it
summer
very
last
recently.
year. We did on the what do you call it? I think we spoke about it on the end of month. It was watched in September, and you watched it in April. So yeah.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Very good. PIMP on the steel drums.
Yes. Yes.
Massive highlight.
Again, I don't think we said this before, but you can't really talk about this film without kind of spoiling it.
Yes, you can't.
So
Very good
wait,
performance.
It's a great performance.
It's a good brain
Very interesting case.
scratcher.
And very well done. Again, great performances from everyone.
I'd like to know where people would stand on whether something happened or didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. But yes, maybe we'll wait for Paul one day and then we can do
We'll wait
it.
for Paul to watch it and then we'll
Yeah,
have a
I'll watch it
discussion
one day.
about what our theory is.
I'll need to get
Yeah,
a
it's
watch
good.
now.
Strong. There's a dog in it, Paul, so go ahead.
Yeah, maybe speaking about the dog.
I'm pretty sure the dog looks like Memphis as well.
Oh,
I think
bonus
it does.
points.
Am I
It's
wrong?
a type of collie, but I think it's a grey and brown collie rather than black and white.
There's white.
Okay.
I'm sure there's white.
There's a white chest, but like the black bits on him are kind of spotted rather than...
I'm sorry.
You would look at his chest, wouldn't you?
He would. My number 2 is 9 out of 10. Wages of Fear, 1953 French film. The film that Sorcerer was based on. Adam, I can't remember if you were on the monthly wrap-up when I spoke about it earlier in the year. I think you might have been
I
away.
remember you
but
talking
this-
about the sorcerer bit.
Yes, yeah. 3 hours long film, but you don't feel it at all. And as I said when I was speaking about it on the monthly wrap-up, I think that this is better than Sorcerer. Even though Sorcerer is great, this kind of captures more of the tension all the way through, and it feels super fucking dirty and claustrophobic and suffocating, and all of that tension that you have in that bridge scene sort of rides throughout so much of the film. And you would, that's a hard task for a film from 1953. There is one scene in particular, which is not even in Sorcerer, where one of the trucks, the driver has gone manic and is like, there's a massive pool of oil, a huge pool of oil, engine oil in front of them. And he's like, I'm just going to drive through it. And the other guy's like, you can't, because if you do that, we are getting stuck and we are not moving, and then we're fucked. And sure enough, he gets like 2/3 of the way and the truck gets stuck, and the one guy gets out to try and pull the truck through, and then the truck runs over his leg and breaks his leg, and he starts suffocating and drowning in the oil.
Oh, shit.
And the one guy can't get out of the truck to help him, because if he does, the truck's never starting again. And as you know, the trucks need to keep moving. And it is just horrendous, but so well shot, so beautifully shot all the way through it as well. Incredible stuff. Highly recommend. You both liked Sorcerer. You should check out this original.
Yes. Another one I definitely need to see as soon as possible.
Great. It is great.
Amazing.
So
is it number one time?
One.
Jesus. Yeah. So this one I watched last month in December. 14th of December. That's how close it came, and it got to my number one spot.
Wow.
And it's a film from 2022.
Were you saving it up?
No, I was not.
It just so happened to be your favourite. No.
I just threw
Never give up on the year, see?
Exactly. And it's a Spanish film. How about that?
Check it out.
Yes, it's a Spanish film called The Coffee Table. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it because Sean and Peter from Movie Jaw they've spoken
seen
about this.
Yeah. And so has Jamie.
I have not heard of it. I don't know anything about it, though. What is it?
Yeah, you don't really want to, so I'm not going to spoil it terribly for you. So It is basically about a couple. They had a baby. They're in a shop talking to this man. Very humorous scene right up front. And he's trying to sell them this horrendous-looking coffee table. And it's just the legs are these naked women with their busts out in this gold spray paint, and it's got this glass on top, and it's supposed to be the salesman selling it as, it's an unbreakable glass, and the husband's just lapping it all up. He wants this coffee table so much, no matter how horrendous this thing is, and the wife's like, or the girlfriend or wife, I can't remember if they're married or not, saying no, it's like, this thing's horrendous. And he's like, you never let me have a decision of my own. And you get that sense from the off that there's like this tension between them both. You don't know whether they're actually supposed to be together, but they're together because they have this baby, and there's this tension. So from the off, there's a tension, right? Anyway, he gets the coffee table. He takes up to his flat, and you introduce this neighbour with the mother and daughter, and the little daughter's talking about her boyfriend she's going to go see, right? And just as everyone disperses, the little girl talks to the husband or boyfriend and saying, you need to meet me later on, right? Because she's making out like they've got a relationship going, and he doesn't want anything to do with it, but she's forcing him into it. Anyway, we go into this apartment, and the whole film plays out. There is, you can call it this Hitchcockian thing of, there's this bomb in the room, right? And this thing's going to go off at some point. And when you realise what this thing is, when you actually watch the film, it's one hell of a bomb, right? And it is
intriguing,
the most stressful, sick to my stomach feeling I've ever had in a film. This film is so hard to watch, but you cannot take your eyes off the screen. And it is amazing.
Make you sick to your stomach.
It made me sick to my stomach. Had my hands. My body was literally doing things I've never done in any other film. I was like, had my hands on my face, like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. Right? I was stressed through the whole fucking thing. It is so fucking good, right? And I don't ever need to see this film again. That is how
Because
bad
you don't
it
want to go
gets,
through it again.
right? It's how
very
bad
intriguing.
it gets.
This is how you sell a movie, Adam. This is how you sell your fucking movie, man.
And it's like
Well, I don't know if I want to do it now. I was getting. This sounds too stressful.
I told my brother to watch it, and I didn't tell him anything about it. But when this thing was happening, he was like, he knew this thing was going to happen because of the situation that started unfolding, and he was like, I can't believe they're doing this. And then it happened. You're like, oh my fucking god, how did this happen?
Okay, I need to see it now.
Yeah, I mean, this sounds fucking tantalising. Buddy,
Yeah, and-
listen, I want that to live up to the way you just pitched that. I really hope it does.
And I fucking adored it. I loved it, even though it made me feel horrendous. And it's like, you did your job. You did your fucking job because
Wow.
you made me feel everything you want me to feel. And it's a 10 out of 10. I absolutely love it.
Oh, it's a 10 out of 10.
10 out
Is
of
that
10.
your only 10 out of 10 for the year?
My only 10 out of 10 for the year.
Wow. I didn't have a single 10 out of 10 this year. First time watch or
I'm going up to an
2024.
Yeah, there you go.
What, 8's the highest you did, Adam?
Yeah, 8 was the highest I went to.
Wow. You're very hard to please this year.
He is.
Well, how can I see Coffee Table? Where would this be?
Coffee Table, well, it's on Amazon Shudder, so you could do a Shudder trial, and then you could just cancel it.
I feel like I've done Shudder trial twice. They're not very good at clocking that.
Sometimes they do,
Do a
sometimes
trial
they don't.
twice. Well, cool. I like the sound of that. That's on the watch list. Adam, what is your number one?
Well, my number one is, again, this could have come out. I'm going to have to Google when this came out, to be fair. Let's do it.
UK release
Oh,
date, don't
bollocks.
forget. UK release
It
date.
came out on the 2nd of February in the UK.
Oh, go on. What is it? What is it? What is it?
You might have it. It's Zone of Interest.
No, I don't have it.
We'll talk about it now.
Just
Go
talk
ahead.
about it now.
Have you seen it, Ben?
I've seen it.
You've seen it, Paul?
I have not seen it.
Okay. So this film is set at Auschwitz. But it's set in with a family who run Auschwitz. And the atmosphere, the music to this, the sound of this film, it reminds me like so much of Spencer. Just that continuous
Yes.
music
That's a
that
very good
makes you
comparison.
feel
Okay.
shit is about to go down any given moment, and like the horror that this family are involved in and causing while they're trying to live their normal lives.
Yeah.
It's kind of a hard film to describe without seeing it and feeling it, because like Paul said earlier, it's about feelings. This film, and it's how it makes you feel watching this film. Yeah, it sticks with you like as it should. And like these family just doing normal family life whilst they're worrying about the plants growing so high that they can cover the walls so they won't see what's on the other side, and the smells and the noise, and yeah.
It's a great concept for way of life anyway. People are much more comfortable if they can cover up something terrible happening by going, oh, well, I don't really want to look at it. Let's close these curtains, or let's... We live in this area where there's poverty and gentrification.
The reason
side
why
by
you're
side,
in this area is because of this. But
Yes.
you're also trying to ignore that. That's the reason what you're doing.
The normalcy of life when something so horrendous is happening. I very much appreciated, obviously, the director Jonathan Glazer speaking at the Oscars, comparing it to what was happening in Israel-Palestine. He's a Jewish filmmaker himself, and he's basically saying this is what is happening now. What you see in this film is same fucking thing. Same fucking thing. It's disappointing for me though, because I was like well on board to enjoy the film because of his stance, to then watch the film and be like, yes, very good and haunting, but wanted more. Too much not stuff happening, because as you say, it focuses on the mundane, and you watch a lot of the mundane, and it's basically your mind is always filling in the horrific shit that is happening elsewhere, because you see a glimpse of something,
You hear it,
or hear a little something.
They refer to it, but you don't ever see it.
No,
Which again, I think is quite
it's good.
clever.
It's good that you don't see it. Yeah, absolutely. It's like it is very much so like Spencer. It is,
Right.
although Spencer's better. That's your number one, Adam. Wow.
That was my number one.
Fuck me. What'd you give that? An 8? Oh, wow. Yeah. Jesus
Spencer
Christ.
is a lot better than this, but yeah.
Yes, it is. Well, my number one, back to Japan. I think I had 5 films from Japan on my top 10 first time watches. I said that there was another Godzilla film. There is. This is 9 out of 10. This is 2016's Shin Godzilla. And it is, I've spoken about it before, but basically, if you like monster films, kaiju films, and Godzilla films, possibly this ain't the Godzilla film for you. But if you kind of like them and you like quirky filmmaking, you might fucking love this as I did, because it is about... You've both seen this now, haven't you?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen Shin Godzilla.
Okay. So it's about the real... What would actually happen if Godzilla came out of the water in Japan? What would actually happen? How would the governments, the local councils, the heads of the cities and towns...
Do they know he's there anyway, or is it a complete surprise that he exists?
It's a complete surprise. He suddenly comes out of the water and he doesn't look like Godzilla. He looks kind of googly-eyed and foolish, but he evolves through different stages throughout the film to become the horrifying Godzilla that we know. And you are watching all of these local authorities and groups in boardrooms talking. It's like it is like a Aaron Sorkin film, and he's dealing with the invasion of Godzilla. And Godzilla looks incredible. Godzilla looks as good for me as he does in -1. It's CGI, but it is CGI built on top of mocap, kind of similar to, I guess, Gollum. And all of the stuff is riveting. All of the discussions that they're having in the boardrooms about, well, we need to make a decision. Are we going to close this town down? And if we do close that town down, what are we going to do? Are we going to nuke? Are we going to send some missiles into that town? No, you can't do that because we haven't got enough people out. Well, how many people is enough? Because we need to stop him. So how many people is enough? And they're making these decisions in real time as Godzilla is stampeding across the country. And it's just like, this is brilliant because it's taking the fantastical, ridiculous concept of a beast like Godzilla and stripping it right down to real human beings having to make real conversations. They're not just firing rockets at it because that would blow up a fucking country. So it's how would they actually respond? And it was so enjoyable because I did not expect it to be that good, particularly as the version I watched was a dub, because the dub is the easier version to get your hands on. It's hard to get the subs, and people say, and it's true, there's so much talking in it that if you're watching the subs, you'll be lost. Okay. And there's so many characters constantly talking. So I very quickly put to the side.
I think I was going to watch it, but you said it was on YouTube, but then it wasn't on YouTube or something.
I can't remember what I watched it on. I think it would have been on Prime. I would have had to pay for it. But yeah, man, 2 Godzilla films in my top 10. That Shin Godzilla, it needs the attention. And I watched 2 other films by that director, Shin Ultraman and Shin. Can't remember what the other Shin was. Shin Ultraman.
Love the Shins.
Yes.
Shin fetish.
Shin Wasp Man, maybe? I can't remember what. There was another Shin. One Shin wasn't
Wasp
good.
Man. Clunky tile.
Yeah. But the Shin means new or God.
Yeah.
Or it has various meanings. But it is, absolute delight. And I know Paul doesn't share my thoughts, but that's okay.
I'm glad you loved it, mate.
Yes.
I won't say anything.
I know how you feel about it.
You know how I feel. You know how I feel. I don't need to say anything else.
That was 24 first time watches.
There you go. That's everything. Well, we have some special messages from our patrons if you want to listen to them. Talk about their first time watches.
I was not expecting it. Let's hear it.
Right, first of all, we've got Jamie Russell, and he says, for my favourite first-time watch, I'm going to go for the one and only documentary film that I watched this year. That was American Movie, directed by Chris Smith in 1999. Look at that, another great film from 1999. He just made a spoiler because that's our next round, everyone. There we go. It's released. If only that could be the next year for you guys to cover on the pod. This really appealed to me as a film enthusiast, as it follows the obsessive story of filmmaker Mark Borchardt, who has a dream to make a film and will do whatever it takes to get it made. It therefore becomes a frequently hilarious yet also poignant and moving tribute to one man's pursuit of this goal, regardless of the odds facing him throughout this process. There are several hilarious Spinal Tap-esque sequences, and I really enjoyed all of the references to the filmmaking process on such a low-budget guerrilla-style indie film. There are also lots of film references, mainly horror ones, that made me smile too. There are several very memorable characters that Mark manipulates and does whatever it takes to get help in financing and filming his debut feature, including his best friend Mike Shank, who possesses the most outrageous male scream recorded on film I have witnessed, and his grouchy 82-year-old uncle, who becomes a vital component in Mark's mission. A delightful experience. Well, there you go. American Movie. That was his best first-time watch.
Well, they check that one out.
You will, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
We will be checking it out
one day.
Because we're doing it this round.
I was going to try and keep some of the mystery to it. But...
We're just going to... Everyone is coming. Julio's picked it. It's a Proton pick that he's decided to throw in. So we're bloody going to do it, everyone.
I've literally never heard of this movie ever. It's a documentary.
Maybe is it a real documentary, or maybe it's like a Spinal Tap-esque? Maybe. I'm not sure. Either way, it might be the first documentary we've ever done on Filmbusters.
Well, if Jamie and Julio are double fisting it with praise, then fair enough.
Absolutely. Hell yeah. Right, next we've got Sean Panner Nicholson, and he has this to say.
Hey Filmbusters, how's it going? Sean Panner Nicholson here. My favourite first time watch, I think it might be Gaspar Noé's Irreversible. That was one that really had an impact. Might not have been a great impact. Really disturbing, but totally amazing.
Irreversible. What a pick.
Irreversible. I know that he had watched it because we've been talking about Gaspar Noé recently.
Really?
And he's gone on something of a Gaspar Noé run. I think the last time I spoke to him, he was about to watch Enter the Void as well. I did warn him. Ooh. I warned him about Irreversible. That fucking subway scene is really
hard.
Something. I mean, the whole film is. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Brilliant film and filmmaker.
I've always meant to go back to it, but I know that I've got to watch that scene again.
Yeah. And it's like, I think Sean said it, the thing that's worse about that scene, almost not worse, is the thing that compounds the misery of that scene is that you about halfway through, you just see a man in the background come down the stairs, sees what's happening, and then he walks away.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Gaspar Noé is quite the genius, very good. Shout out some other Gaspar Noé that I saw this year, Lux Eterna, which is about 45 minutes, and it's a split screen, two women who are cast as witches in a movie, and on the set of the movie, the camera follows them one take all the way through, and it goes fucking batshit wild. Climax.
Oh,
and
shit.
It's like that on a movie set as these women are acting the roles of witches. And Gaspar Noé's in it. Gaspar Noé cast himself in it as well.
Oh, really? As a wizard?
No, he's the director. And
of course
the wizard. As a wizard. Oh, I see. And I think the one from... Yeah, it is. Her from Catherine. I've forgotten her name. From Antichrist. The frequent Lars von Trier collaborator.
Yes,
she's one of the witches, and the other one is a French actress. I don't know. I think.
Okay, interesting.
Good pick.
Right, you want to hear from Julio?
Julio, what's he got?
Hello, Filmbusters. This is Julio from The Contrarians with my pick for best movie I have watched in 2024 that is not a 2024 release. And that movie, of course, is Dead Sushi from 2012. That movie's a masterpiece. Just kidding. That movie sucks. No. My pick is it's a three-way tie, but I am going to give the actual pick to the movie that probably is the least known out of those three. So just a quick shout out to runner-up number 1 in Nickelodeon from Peter Bogdanovich, 1976, written and directed by Bogdanovich. A fun comedy about the early days of filmmaking in America. Loved it. My other runner-up from 2017, Your Name, written and directed by Makoto Shinkai. That's a movie that everybody knows, I think. It got rave reviews and lots of love from the moment it came out. And I finally got around to watch it in 2024, and it was everything the hype said it would be. So check it out if for some reason you haven't. It's a wonderful anime. And the final one, the actual pick, is Takeout from 2004, written and directed by Sean Baker and Sushi Shing. Sean Baker, who went on to make even bigger movies, but this is a Criterion release, so in a way it's kind of a big deal. But I kind of feel like when people talk about Sean Baker, they don't really mention Takeout. They mention Tangerine and Florida Project and so on, but Takeout is the one. I'm not a big fan of Baker's other work that I've seen, but Takeout is great. It's just a very simple story about an illegal immigrant in America that works at a Chinese restaurant. It's a delivery guy, and this is just one day in his life where he has to make a specific amount of money or bad things are going to happen. And it's just through that day, we just see him struggle, deal with customers in and out. And it's just a wonderful depiction of, first of all, of dealing with customer service when you're kind of like at the bottom of the barrel, but also just immigration and the brotherhood of immigrants. And just, I think it's a very humanizing way of looking at it. At a time where immigration, illegal immigration in particular, has been just demonized beyond belief due to political interests in our country, and I think in other countries as well. It's kind of refreshing and even invigorating to see a movie that just treats immigrants as humans, as people that have dreams and setbacks, and they're people. So love Takeout. I've seen it twice now, probably watch it more than that. I know it's not easily available, at least on your side of the world, but I encourage you to find it, even if that means buying the Criterion. I think that you guys would like it. So that's my pick. 5 stars. Strongly recommend it.
Takeout.
I know what Ben's about to say.
Yeah, Sean Baker.
Well, you do, yeah.
Not
Sean Baker
fan.
struggle with that cunt, but I do remember.
Matt just poured his heart out.
No, yeah, but he said I think Julio feels the same. I think Julio also. It's not that he struggles massively, but I don't think Julio is the biggest fan of things like Tangerine and Florida Project. And the thing is, Florida Project wasn't just awful, but it was just symptomatic of the kind of films that guy makes. Takeout does sound interesting. I remember they were talking about it on their Contrarian Patreon.
I thought you hated him because he was very pro-Israel.
Well, that as well. But who as patrons who have watched my end of year wrap up video will know, I've done my bit for the year to see what I could do to fulfill my soul.
That also sounds a lot more sympathetic than Florida Project.
Yeah, I mean, it's not about trashy Americans for one thing. Although it is, but maybe it just doesn't put the spotlight on them in a sort of. He has this fetishization. Like, I don't want to be dismissive, but like Florida Project, a woman living in poverty, which is a social issue, yes, but then puts her young daughter in situations that are dangerous because of her sexual proclivity many times. And we're meant to feel sorry for her. And then this most recent film, Anora, which is about sex workers in America. It's like you are shining the light very much on traditional American white trash and saying, hey, we should be sympathetic to them too, which is like, yeah, cool, but you present it in such an abrasive, ugly way that there is no heart to any of it. But by the sounds of it, Takeout is very different, and I am intrigued to see Takeout. I do want to see that one if I was going to see any of Sean Baker's work.
That's the takeaway. Takeout.
That's my takeaway from Takeout. And if I'm getting Takeout, it's Chinese.
I'd probably get the curry.
I might get Cantonese food tonight.
Film.
Cantonese. Look how specific, Adam.
It's a Cantonese restaurant. They do the hard work for you by naming it.
Well,
by naming it.
We appreciate that recommendation, Julio. And I was surprised that Nickelodeon wasn't the number one because I know he fucking loved that. But yeah, Takeout was a film.
Great stuff. Well, finally, we've got Katie and Oti from For Your Reference. Let's listen to what they have to say.
Oh, yes.
Hey, friends and lovers of the Filmbusters podcast. You've got your host, Katie.
And OT.
From the For Your Reference podcast. Thank you so much for inviting us again to wrap up the year of whatever 2024 was. We're going to get into our first time watch of 2024, and it could have been released at any time, but first time for us. Take us away, OT.
Oh, I'm going with Osman Sembene's Mandabi, which means money order. We saw it at the Sydney Film Festival, and it's just a brilliant watch.
Yeah, it's been a great year for African cinema, or at least in the For Your Reference household. Not so much African cinema, but definitely an auteur and a man of film restoration. Martin Scorsese. I've got King of Comedy
Oh, nice.
in my deck of cards. What a beautiful time. Gorgeous, tantalizing watches, just like the Filmbuster boys are gorgeous, tantalizing watches as well. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next clip.
So,
Beautiful
Mandabi,
picks.
he said, eh? Mandabi.
Yeah.
If I look to that, I see it 1968.
Really?
Yeah.
That far back. Wow.
I mean, sometimes they throw on the old films. They might not be that. Is it Mandabi Usman Sembene, which is the name Oti said. So, yeah, that's the one. 1968. Sometimes they do a release. A money order from a relative in Paris throws the life of a Senegalese family man out of order. He deals with corruption, greed, problematic family members, the locals, and the changing from his traditional way of living to a more modern one. Sounds cool. The African Film Festival was also simultaneously over here in London at the same time, I'm pretty sure. I've never really heard of that. Them, simultaneously doing a film festival in different countries.
Well, I've added that to the watch list. That's a big shout from Oti there. And of course, King of Comedy. It's like, you can't go wrong with that. Yeah.
You can go wrong
with Joker.
if you got Joker in one hand and King of Comedy in the other, though.
Well, there's only one right option.
Exactly,
Well,
that's
there's,
what you
them
say.
two. That's what I say. And
That's-
you know what
that's-
I say.
I know what you say.
You say wrong.
I
do
say
say
right.
I'm very glad that Katie likes it as much as she does.
Yeah, that's nice. It's a great film. I'm not shaming that film. I just like Joker more, that's all.
It's top dog filmmaking.
Well, there you go. Thank you, our wonderful patrons. That was some lovely choices there. And that is the end of our first-time watches of 2024 that are not from 2024. And we hope you bloody enjoyed it. And that's the first episode of our two-parter.
Even the half of mine were from 2024.
Exactly. One of mine as well. So
You've got to rely on Adam to cock up the format slightly.
I'm
what
blaming
can you do?
Letterboxd because they should be more intelligent than to put just a year on a film, and they should be done by the country you're in.
That's where human involvement comes in. That's where you
Human
got to
error.
take the... Yes, you got to get in there, mate. You got to Google it.
Yeah.
Google.
What can you do? Well,
So
yes.
what can listeners expect in part 2?
Catch us next time when we're doing our actual best films of 2024. The films that were released in 2024, maybe, unless we already spoke about them.
And they're actually released in 25, and we just
Yes.
put them in 24.
Exactly. Do that good. That's probably all your list, Adam. You haven't even
Yeah.
seen the films yet.
Yeah.
I've seen one film this year, and it came out this year, but it was probably classed as a 24 film.
Exactly. There you go.
Ah.
But that's what you got to look forward to, everyone. And we hope you enjoyed that episode. And I guess we'll see you next time.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.
Filmbusters.